Welcome to 101. I'm Greg Bassett, your host from the Salisbury Independent newspaper. It's a big day here at PAC 14. It's election time, and we're doing our candidate interviews. Today we're in the State Senate, District 38, and we have Michele Gregory from Salisbury to talk about why she's running for election. Welcome, Michele.
Hi, great to be here.
So you're on the City Council, so this is a change for you.
Yes, it is. But I've also done a lot of legislative work working with different organizations and with legislators directly to get some good stuff passed at the state level. So while it is a different step, it's not unfamiliar territory for me.
You're running as a Democrat. The district's pretty big. It's all of Worcester, it's a lot of Wicomico, and it's all of Somerset.
Yes.
What are you learning as you go out there?
A lot. I'm getting reinforced on what I already knew, which was that there are a lot of people that have been left out of the conversation. There are a lot of people who have not been engaged because they feel they don't have a voice. And that's part of why I decided to run.
So it's a tough haul. You're going up against Mary Beth Carrozza, who's a very established incumbent. Anything that you falter on, or you just have a different set of ideas?
I just have a different set of ideas. And I think I bring a different kind of energy. I'm not someone who's been in politics my whole life. I am someone who worked as a child care provider, a small business owner, and I think I bring a different perspective from someone who has been in politics and in elected positions for quite a long time.
You know, 38 is a difficult district because it's interesting in its diversity. So you've got so many small businesses and service industry jobs in Worcester County, Wicomico, also, you know, retail center, small business, but manufacturing.
Yes.
What's that economic matrix, and how are you going to work with that?
So I think someone who was a micro almost business owner, I know how hard it is for some of these folks. Just trying to get them connected with resources alone is going to be a huge, huge part of what I'm going to be doing in the state Senate. The small businesses that we have here are really the backbone of the lower shore. We have a lot of tourism dollars coming into the state or into the region, and we really need to funnel those towards our locally owned small businesses.
What are some of your successes on the City Council that you want to take to a state level?
I'm really proud of the housing. So when I ran for City Council, that was one of the things I heard over and over again from people was that they were feeling the housing crisis coming on. And when Jake came back and we discussed the Here is Home project, I was all for it because it is such a monumental step forward for the region. Housing has been out of reach for so many people, and being able to facilitate that kind of growth in the housing market around here has been a huge accomplishment, I think, for us, along with helping organizations like Salisbury Neighborhood Housing and Habitat for Humanity, being able to provide housing for those in need, and the tiny homes that we are working on as we speak.
Right. Now you mentioned Jake Day, our mayor.
Yes.
He's been a pretty inspiring leader. Has he inspired you? Has he taught you anything?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I saw the work that he was doing during his first term, and I was like, this is the kind of leadership we need down here, and that's another reason why I ran, was because I felt like he needed people who would support him at the City Council. And we have an amazing council, and we really work together as a cohesive unit.
One of the things that's going to be different in Maryland, Larry Hogan's going to be gone, the Republican governor, moderate Republican governor.
Yes.
If you trust the polls right now, it looks like Wes Moore, the Democrat, is going to be our next governor. You're a Democrat. Do you look forward to working with Wes?
I do. Actually, we just hosted him down in Pocomoke this past weekend for his birthday. He spent his birthday on the Eastern Shore, which is really...
In Pocomoke?
In Pocomoke. And then he came to Salisbury. He was in Cambridge before Pocomoke, I believe. We have a chance at the state level. We're going to have all new leadership in these state elected positions, whether it is the governor and lieutenant governor, comptroller, attorney general. We're looking at a whole new slew of candidates and people in these offices, something we haven't seen in several decades. And I think having leaders that can work with those people is going to be incredibly important for the entire region.
One of the things about Wes Moore that I don't know, he's kind of a celebrity who's running for office. he doesn't have that legislative track record or been an executive in government anywhere. So I don't really know what he's going to want to try to achieve. Where do you see him going?
I think as someone who ran the biggest poverty fighting organization in the country, he has a good grasp on leadership and what we need to do at the state level to be able to help folks and move forward in the economy and the challenges that we face. He is a former military man, but he's humble enough that he wears his ring from his 2-year college. So I think that this is something that, he's going to bring a fresh new perspective that we've needed. I think a lot of our problems come from having career politicians in place. My uncle was someone who worked in the White House for JFK, and his mentor taught him something, and that was they came to do good, they stayed to do well. And sometimes people can be in government for far too long. They lose touch with what's going on the ground in reality. And having new people in those positions is going to be really, really important moving forward.
One of the things we see in District 38, there's a lot of watermen, certainly down in the Crisfield area,
Yep.
Deal Island. We have a lot of farmers in Worcester and Wycomico. There's always some tension over perhaps over-regulation from the state. How can you mitigate that? How can you be involved in that?
I think it's, first of all, giving the watermen and giving the farmers a purchase into the solution. It's not coming from the top down. It's working with them and saying, hey, what do you see are the problems? How can we help you become more sustainable that will save you money in the long run and save your land, farm, water, whatever it is? Because we are going to start seeing, climate change come in and affect these businesses, these types of work here, and they are the backbone of the entire lower shore, if not the entire eastern shore. So, we need to make sure that we are having open, honest conversations, and all the ones that I have had with folks in those areas and working in that kind of field have been positive ones, because I approach it from hey, what do you need? What can we do for you to help you mitigate the problems? And I think that's something that's really important, is having these one-on-one conversations with folks.
Healthcare, quality healthcare is a big issue in District 38. It's a very fast-growing senior population, particularly in northern Worcester County. Are we prepared for this growth in the senior population?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We are not prepared. Not only are we not prepared, but we don't have the services available. I see it in my own family. My oldest is disabled, and we have many times had a difficult time getting care for him, proper care for him. That is nothing against the hospital. We've many times spent a couple of weeks in ICU with him, and the doctors and the nurses are all fantastic. However, we don't have enough resources. I think there are some real opportunities to work with our university systems to bring medical care down here. I think there are some real opportunities to bring businesses, private entities down here that can provide these services. It's just going to take some creative out-of-the-box thinking.
So education, a huge issue. The Kerwin Commission, Blueprint for Maryland. Some concern about funding that, getting the proper funding, and what the impact's going to be on our local jurisdictions. As a state senator, how are you going to help with that?
I think we just need someone who is going to be a loud advocate for education. I was an early childhood educator for over 20 years. I worked with the youngest kids, and I saw the problems that parents faced trying to get the proper care for them, trying to get the proper education for them. I have personally gone through all different forms. We homeschooled my younger two. When they were young, we had them in private schools in middle school, and they went to public high school. They went to Y High, and we're very proud of them. They've seen all of the different good and bad things, the different sides. I think that we can find money. This is, the wealthiest state per capita in the country. I think that we need to be funneling dollars to this region because this is the poorest region in the state. Somerset is the poorest county, and Wycomico is the second poorest. We need the state to help us make sure that our kids have a better education so we can bring up the prosperity level of our region.
The county governments depend so much on the legislators and the Eastern Shore delegation to get
Right.
things done for them in Annapolis. Are you looking forward to that role?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I am. I love working with people at all different levels, and I think we can get some really good stuff done. We have some real opportunities here. We've got a lot of people moving to the area, like you said earlier, with the seniors. But it's not just seniors. I'm seeing family, people, my age with kids moving to the area, and I think we need to be able to make sure that they're moving to an area that they're going to stay in. They're going to raise their kids here. We need, to work at all levels, and I'm very good at finding a middle ground with people.
4 years from now, when we have you back, when you run for re-election, what do you want to be able to say was the big thing that you accomplished?
I want to make sure that we're bringing health care here. I think that is going to be the number one issue we're facing. We have a dentist shortage here. There is not enough access to care for seniors. There's not enough access to care for those who are disabled. I really want to be able to, in the next 4 years, make something happen or get something going that can help us grow the healthcare of this region.
All right, so give us your 1-minute pitch. Why should the constituents of District 38 elect Michele Gregory as their state senator?
Because I'm very high energy. I can get things done. I enjoy working with other people, but I also will not back down from what's right. And I think that the one thing that I am pretty well known for is being very outspoken and a very loud advocate for the Eastern Shore. When they first opened COVID testing sites, I immediately took to Twitter and noticed that this was not enough. There were no sites on the Eastern Shore. I immediately alerted members of our delegation. I reached out to the state, and sure enough, within a week we had it. I can get things done, and that's really, really key and important, because we do not have the right kind of leadership here on the shore that gets stuff done.
She's Michele Gregory. She's a current member of the Salisbury City Council running for State Senate District 38, and we're thrilled she had time to be with us here today. Thank you, Michele, for being here.
Thanks for having me. Always happy to.
I'm Greg Bassett from the Salisbury Independent newspaper. Be sure and catch all the candidate interviews on the PAC 14 YouTube page.